Welcome to Stellar Guy. Today we're diving deep into the Reba episode titled You Make Me Sick, a hilarious yet heartfelt episode where the Hart family grapples with the challenges of pregnancy, honesty, and family support. Watch as Reba tries to keep things together, Van learns the hard truths of being a supportive husband, and Cheyenne faces the realities of morning sickness in a way that will have you laughing and relating at the same time. The episode begins with Reba preparing breakfast and calling for Van and Cheyenne to come downstairs. But as it turns out, Cheyenne has been feeling extremely unwell. Van quickly reports to Reba that Cheyenne has been throwing up all night, which Reba immediately recognizes as the dreaded morning sickness. Despite its name, Reba warns them that morning sickness doesn't just happen in the morning. With a chuckle, she remembers how she was sick for months when she was pregnant with Cheyenne, causing Cheyenne to groan in despair. Van, still trying to make light of the situation, mimics Cheyenne's complaints to add a bit of humor. But Cheyenne, clearly frustrated, isn't amused. This early scene sets the tone for the rest of the episode. Cheyenne is visibly struggling with the physical toll of pregnancy, while Van, though trying to be supportive, is starting to feel overwhelmed. Meanwhile, Reba, who has been through this herself, tries to offer words of encouragement, albeit with a bit of dry humor thrown in. As Reba tends to Cheyenne, Jake enters the room, feeling left out and asking if he can go to his friend Robbie's house after school. Reba, sensing that Jake has been trying to escape the craziness of home life, suggests that it might be time for Robbie to come over to their house instead. Jake is less than thrilled with this idea, claiming Robbie's house is more fun. Reba, ever the optimist, promises Jake that their home will be fun again soon, even though, as viewers, we can tell she's struggling to keep things together. While Jake is busy planning his escape, Van is trying to be the supportive husband but feels conflicted. Cheyenne is miserable, and Van doesn't know how to help her. Reba tries to reassure them both that morning sickness, while awful, doesn't last forever. She recounts how sensitive she was to certain foods during her pregnancies, especially Italian food, which sends Cheyenne rushing to the bathroom once again. Reba's attempt to comfort her daughter backfires, leaving both of them feeling frustrated. Later, Reba gives Cheyenne a book called What to Expect When You're Expecting, hoping it will help her better understand the changes her body is going through. But the book's descriptions of pregnancy symptoms, like bloating, heartburn, and engorged breasts, only make Cheyenne feel worse. As Cheyenne flips through the book, the weight of what's happening seems to hit her, and her usual upbeat demeanor starts to fade. Meanwhile, Van heads off to football practice, where he's feeling the effects of being a newlywed with a pregnant wife. He's exhausted from taking care of Cheyenne and trying to keep up with school and football. Coach Brock, seeing Van struggling, pulls him aside for a pep talk. Van explains that Cheyenne is suffering from severe morning sickness, and he doesn't know how to help her. Brock, who remembers how rough things were during Reba's pregnancies, sympathizes, but gives Van some misguided advice. He tells Van that Barbara Jean isn't experiencing any morning sickness, suggesting that Cheyenne needs to toughen up and adopt a better attitude. Encouraged by Brock's words, Van rushes home, ready to share this newfound wisdom with Cheyenne. He's convinced that all she needs is a little motivation to push through the morning sickness, just like a football player pushes through a tough game. When Van delivers his pep talk, telling Cheyenne to shake it off and get back in the game, Cheyenne is appalled. She can't believe Van is comparing her pregnancy to football, and the mention of Barbara Jean, who apparently hasn't been sick at all, only makes her feel worse. Van's well-meaning attempt to help backfires, and Cheyenne is left feeling unsupported and misunderstood. Meanwhile, Reba is trying to create a fun environment for Jake by planning an indoor campout. She hopes that by doing something special for him, she can bring a little joy back into their chaotic household. But Jake, who is still disappointed about not being able to go to Robbie's house, isn't interested in Reba's efforts. He's missing the excitement of Robbie's house, and Reba is left feeling like she can't win, no matter how hard she tries. Things come to a head when Caroline, Robbie's mom, comes over to pick up Robbie. Reba, trying to be polite, invites Robbie to a sleepover at their house, but Caroline hesitates. Reba quickly realizes that Caroline doesn't want Robbie spending the night at her house, likely due to the turmoil surrounding Cheyenne's pregnancy and Brock's affair with Barbara Jean. Reba, hurt by this judgment, tries to defend her family, but Caroline stands her ground, making it clear that she's concerned for her son's well-being. Reba, feeling betrayed by someone she considered a friend, cancels Jake's plans to visit Robbie's house, deciding that if Caroline doesn't trust her, she won't let Jake go there either. Later, Van and Cheyenne are invited to dinner at Brock and Barbara Jean's house. Van is excited about the evening, hoping it will lift Cheyenne's spirits. But as soon as they arrive, it's clear that Cheyenne is struggling. She can barely sit through the meal without feeling sick, while Barbara Jean, who is just as pregnant, seems perfectly fine, laughing and joking throughout the evening. Cheyenne, feeling worse than ever, pulls Barbara Jean aside for a private conversation. It's in this moment that Barbara Jean reveals a surprising secret. She has been experiencing morning sickness, but she's been hiding it from Brock to keep him happy. Barbara Jean explains that she feels it's her job to keep Brock happy, even if it means pretending she's okay when she's not. Cheyenne, shocked by this revelation, realizes that she's been doing the same thing. She's been trying to keep Van happy by pretending everything is fine, but it's only making her feel worse. Barbara Jean's confession helps Cheyenne see that she doesn't have to hide her struggles, and that being honest about her feelings is the first step to getting the support she needs. Back at the Hart house, Reba is feeling the weight of everything that's happening. She's trying to keep the family together, but it's exhausting. During a therapy session, Reba confesses that she's been trying to control everything and fix all the problems, but it's wearing her down. The therapist suggests that maybe Reba needs to take a step back and let her family figure things out on their own. At first, Reba is resistant to this idea. She's always been the one to take charge, but she slowly realizes that maybe it's time to give her family the space to handle things on their own. As the episode nears its conclusion, Van and Cheyenne finally have a heart-to-heart. Cheyenne admits that she's been pretending to be okay because she didn't want to disappoint Van, but it's been making her feel even more isolated. Van, in turn, confesses that he's been faking his own happiness because he didn't want to burden Cheyenne with his worries. They both realize that by hiding their true feelings, they've been drifting apart instead of supporting each other. In a touching moment, they promise to be honest with each other from now on, even when things are difficult. Meanwhile, Reba puts her therapist's advice into action by giving Jake the space to handle things on his own. Instead of trying to orchestrate another camp out or force fun activities, she lets Jake come to her when he's ready, and it's a small but significant step towards letting go of her need to control everything. The episode ends on a hopeful note. Van and Cheyenne are more connected than ever, having learned the importance of honesty and mutual support. Reba, while still adjusting to the idea of not being in control, starts to embrace the idea of stepping back and letting her family find their way. Thanks for tuning in to Stellar Guy. In this heartfelt and hilarious episode of Reba, we saw the challenges of pregnancy, relationships, and family dynamics play out with plenty of laughs and a lot of heart. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more episode breakdowns of your favorite shows.